I would like to introduce more about this universal story pattern. What are the elements of a great story? We saw Jacob and Esau's story and Joseph and Abraham's story. We examined the characteristics of a pilgrim and a hero and began looking into these two worldviews. As we understand the elements of this universal story pattern, we can see our own story following this sun at horizon principle. And I invite you to see your own story. So within the elements of a great story, there is a plot where there's conflict or a struggle and the main theme that the character goes through. Then there is a main character, and that is the interesting person in the story. And in this case, it's you. And then there is a theme. There's always a theme and an important person and an important lesson that the story is teaching. Again, we can see this in all the great stories. Go and watch all of the fun stories like Rocky and Hobbit. I have these short clips from the link I shared in the lesson with some great scenes that I pulled out, and it's on YouTube. Now, I invite you to consider your own story with some of these story questions as you complete your writing questions for day 3. What is the plot and purpose of your quest? And because the plot holds that purpose of the quest. And so what is your purpose? And with the character in the story, the questions we can ask ourselves is, what kind of character will I be? What kind of character will you be in your own story? With the theme, what will be the theme of your story? As we go through our journey, we can consider what kind of character we will be in our own story. Now let's look at the structure of our story. When was your beginning? When did I experience my beginning? You could ask yourself. I think we are here wandering, as with that definition of the wanderer, without any direction. And when we're here doing all that all the time, we're just wandering and going in our story. But when we find our beginning, and for me, it was that born again experience. It's when we find our beginning, it can be this. It can pull us into living our life more deliberately, and our beginning will change our inward desires, and that's what I've experienced. So at that time in my life, I felt like I didn't have to try to figure it out all on my own anymore. It was wonderful. Just like the Christian in the Pilgrim's Progress, I could see off into this view, and I could see that there is a way, and I can see where I want to go, and I want to get over there on that path and on that course over there. So Pilgrim started to, or Christian, is also called Pilgrim. He started to be concerned for his own welfare, and he started to travel on his journey, and he was looking for those who could help take this burden off his shoulders. And if you watch that video or read that book or listen to the story, they have recently made an amazing animation version of Paul Bunyan's story of the Pilgrim's Progress. So he finds that journey finally, and he sees that and experiences this process. At first, he's really concerned and just looking for the way, but through his journey, we can see how it's a process, and it's not a one final thing to our story. And but we can see it starts with the beginning, and I believe it's our born again experience, or our awakening experience, something that happens that pulls us alive and in a new way. So I just ask again, what was your beginning? Maybe what was your middle? What got you going on this journey? And we're probably all in our middle somewhere. We're not at the end of our big course, but looking at this pattern, this one big story that you are creating, this amazing story of your life. You are going to share that with your generations beyond you, your progeny. And wouldn't it be awesome if you could write it as you teach it to them as well? So I believe it's very valuable to identify your own story and what happened to you and where you are, so you can transfer that. And that's what we're doing here. I think that is just the coolest thing about this pattern. And as we go through today's content on the elements of the story, and as we talked about before in the characteristics of the pilgrim and the hero, I want you to consider adding this other layer to write your answers and write your thoughts. What kind of character will I be in my story? And what kind of character do I want to be known as? And what theme do I live by? And what is my character today? Hopefully that can help us find one thing that we know we need to address, and then will give us a motivation to make steps to correct that natural man nature in us and correct it to be more of a divine side, following the call within to rebirth. Here's here's an overview on, as we consider our story. I wish we could get together and tell each other our stories and share that crucial part of our story and our why. Why are you on this journey today? Why are you here in this class? Why are you doing what you're doing? Was it because of a crucial step you took? I think if you can know your beginning and always be revisiting your beginning and evaluating the condition of our hearts and the condition of your heart, then we can keep that renewal of our heart. And the question can be posed is, why is the renewal on at the end over here on this slide on the course? And I think if we look at this whole thing as a help to keeping our heart soft, keeping our poor heart, the poor in spirit heart, and this kind of attitude, a poor in spirit kind of attitude, and having our hearts be soft enough to be guided along the way, then one day there will be an ultimate renewal of our heart, a sanctification, a heart renewal, and this ultimate transformation. But along the way, we can cycle through and circle around. And on the screen, this is just a collage of all the words that that we've examined through our searches in the scriptures. And can be found, and I invite you to search the list on the PDF that you printed off in the Welcome to the Course, and do some searching on those verses and find where these words might reside on this pattern. But these are showing us the attitudes of becoming and the ways of becoming on the outside, because we can choose actually the attitudes are on the inside, but we can choose those attitudes and it will emanate out from us into those ways that we can become. Now I invite you to search more, find other verses, and come and share them in the live discussions, and we can discover them together and practice. And those are held at the end of the month. And that's a time where we can read together and practice exploring and using our skills of discovery to see the connections and to compare it back. Does it fit? Is this relating to these other scriptures that show us this pattern? And I would love to hear any of your insights as you have any of these searches. So come join us. And I wanted to explain how and why we go through the long time sun. And just a reminder, we do have the nurturing experiences for you to nurture yourself on that day. So today's writing question is, what kind of character will I be in my own story? And this is the PDF to print off. And there are recipes and herbs that you could try for Wednesday that helps our body systems on Wednesday. And so for the longtime sun, I had a friend explain a little bit more about this and why we close with this. When I found this song was when the first time I taught about Pilgrim's Course in person, and I was at a mom's retreat. And right after I finished talking about the sun at horizon and we searching through scriptures together and just sharing, it was so amazing. We sat down to do some yoga, and my friend Shauna taught us about the long-time sun, and I was just floored at the symbolism of the sun that I was just teaching about. And in Kundalini yoga, they use this song to close their practice. And it's a song that actually came from the 60s from an incredible string band. And it was just the ending of the song. And there was a man that brought Kundalini yoga to America. He really liked it, so he incorporated it into the practice. But this is a prayer. And so when we repeat the song together at the end of the time, it goes through 3 times. And the first time we sing it, or the person sings it, it's a prayer for yourself. It's a prayer for ourselves that we stay in that sun. And the second time is a prayer for our loved ones and for those family friends around us. And then the third time is a prayer for all the world. And for me, when I understand that, then it changes the meaning of the song. And it just makes it sweeter to end with the song. So all that we're doing here, I feel like this song really adds to that, being a prayer for us to focus on our own life and our own individual salvation and our own working out our salvation with the Lord, right? And then thinking of those around us and our family and our love, those are of our loved ones, and then those out in our community. And I've loved that this today, the day 3 content is really aligned. If you're doing it on Wednesday, it's aligned with our visionary talents and the gifts. And if we can try to envision while we're saying this prayer or singing it, envision yourself as the first one being blessed and praying, and then envision your family, and then envision the world. It adds to the help that we can receive, and I have extra help in the modules that can help us on this day as we are examining this material. And I love it that we can act as an intercessory in behalf of others. We can pray for others and ask our Father to step into their lives as He steps into ours. So that's why we sing this Longtime Son at the end of our time together.